Hi, this time I wanted to go through a few AWS Cloud Practitioner exam questions. But before I begin, let's cover a bit the exam structure. The exam itself has 65 questions. Among those, only 50 affect the final score. And each of the questions can be either multiple choice when you choose only one correct answer out of 4, or multiple response where there are 2 or more correct answers out of 5 or more options. I have prepared a few exam questions to go through. They have the same level of complexity as the questions on the real exam, so let's jump right in. My strategy on the exam is to first read the question, highlight the keywords, and then go through the answers and figure out whether an answer option fits best to the identified keywords in the question. So let's read the question first. A media company wants to automatically resize and watermark images whenever users upload them to an Amazon S3 bucket. They want a fully managed service that runs code in response to the uploads without managing any service or provisioning infrastructure. Which AWS service should the company use? Let's highlight the keywords now. We want certain actions to be applied to an S3 upload event. So this one kind of important. They're talking about uploading stuff to S3 bucket. They want fully managed service. That is important as well. That will guide us which service to use and how managed the service is. Without managing any service or provisioning infrastructure, that is basically the same as fully managed service. And we have options AWS Fargate, EC2, Lambda, and ECS. Fargate is a container service that is the same as ECS, but without managing underlying EC2 instances. This answer is not correct because the things that Amazon S3 can send events to when an object is uploaded or deleted or other operations in the bucket are made. Those options are AWS Lambda, SNS, and SQS. Amazon EC2 is incorrect because the question is about fully managed service and EC2 is about managing the EC2 instances. AWS Lambda is the only correct option here. Question number 2. And we'll do the same strategy here. We'll read the question, highlight the keywords, and then go through the answers. A financial analytics company stores transaction records that are accessed once every few months for auditing purposes. They want to minimize costs, but still need immediate retrieval access without long wait times. Which option is correct? What is important here is access patterns and the purpose of the data that they need. So they access every few months for auditing purposes. They want to minimize cost, so the cost consideration we have here. They need immediate retrieval access. They need objects to be immediately available, and they access them every few months, so they do not access them on the daily basis. Let's see. Amazon S3 standard. This option doesn't fit because of the cost consideration. This one is the most expensive. And according to the requirements, we need to minimize costs. Next option, Amazon S3 standard infrequent access, S3 standard AI. This storage option fits the best because it has lower cost and it is still highly available and durable, because in this storage class, the data is replicated across availability zones the same way as in the standard. So this one is most likely correct. Amazon S3 Glacier Deep Archive doesn't fit because, according to the question, we want the data to be immediately available, and Glacier Deep Archive is an archival storage option, and we need to execute a request to recover the data. It may take a few hours before we can get the data. So the Glacier Deep Archive is not correct. Amazon S3 one zone infrequent access. This is the cheapest option. It fits to the cost requirement, but in the case of one zone infrequent access, we keep the data in one availability zone This way we risk losing the data if the availability zone is out of business for some reason. And we need the data for auditing purposes, so the data is pretty important and we cannot lose it, so we need cross-AZ replication anyway. So one zone in frequent access, the last option, is not correct. The best fit is the second one, Amazon S3 standard in frequent access. Let's now review the next question, number 3. An e-commerce platform needs a reliable way to send order confirmations, password reset emails, and promotional messages to millions of customers worldwide. The solution must support high deliverability, integration with existing applications, and tracking of delivery metrics such as bounces and complaints. Which option is correct? First, let's highlight the keywords. We want customizable messages with customized templates. You can see that there are a few types of messages that we need to send. We need integration with existing applications. That implies that we need some kind of SDK, and applications will use SDK to send emails. Delivery metrics. Having metrics is one of the requirements here as well. Yeah, let's review the answers. Amazon Simple Notification Service. That is true that SNS can send emails to email subscriptions, but we cannot customize templates of emails here, so it doesn't fit. As well as SNS doesn't have delivery metrics. Amazon Workmail organizations can utilize Workmail to create email addresses for their employees, but applications need integration with some kind of SDK, which Workmail doesn't provide. Next option, Amazon Simple Email Service, is the correct one. SES is exactly the service that serves this purpose. Applications can use it to send emails, generate new templates, and SES has the metrics that are required here. AWS Lambda is a serverless solution, and it can send emails when we connect to an email server by SMTP from Lambda. But Lambda itself is not the correct use case here. So the correct answer is SES. Question number 4. A global e-commerce company operates its website from multiple AWS regions. The business wants users to be directed to the region closest to their location for optimal performance. The team needs a scalable and highly available service to manage domain names and route user requests based on geographic proximity. First one, use Amazon CloudFront to manage domain names and DNS queries. That is incorrect. CloudFront is a CDN solution and it doesn't manage DNS and domain names. Use Amazon Route 53 with geolocation routing policy. That is correct. Amazon Route 53 is a service where we can manage domain names, DNS entries, DNS routing, and stuff like that. And it has a few routing options. One of them is geolocation, so this one perfectly fits into the requirements. The remaining two are not correct. And the next question, number 5. A financial services company hosts its trading platform on EC2 instances in 2 availability zones. The platform must remain accessible even if one availability zone fails. The company also wants to avoid a single point of failure when routing client requests. Which solution will meet these requirements? According to the question, the financial services company runs its application on EC2s in 2 AZs, but they need something in front of the EC2 instances in order to be able to route traffic there. Yeah, and avoid single point of failure is also what we're going to avoid here. Okay, first option, deploy an elastic load balancer across both availability zones. This one is correct, and that is exactly the purpose of elastic load balancer, to do what we want to achieve here, to route traffic between availability zones, and in case one of them is unavailable, then the client request will go to the other one. Use a single EC2 instance with a static elastic IP address. This option is not highly available, and if you lose one EC2 instance or one AZ, then the application will be down, so this one is incorrect. configure Amazon Route 53 to route traffic to one EC2 instance. That is not correct because of the same reason. And set up EC2 auto-scaling in one availability zone only. This option doesn't mitigate the single point of failure, which is one of the main requirements here, right? So the only option is number 1. Yeah, let's see if we have any more questions here. And question number 6. A company has 5 AWS accounts linked under a single management account using consolidated billing. One account uses volume of S3 storage, while others use very little. The CFO asks whether the organization will receive the same S3 volume discount as if all storage was in one account. Which option is correct? So we have single management account and multiple accounts linked to it. We have consolidated billing as well. If we have consolidated billing enabled, then any resources in the member accounts, they are treated as if they are one whole thing. So the pricing and discount will be calculated based on those combined resources from all accounts. Option number 1. Yes, volume discounts are automatically applied across all accounts under consolidated billing. And this one is the correct option. Basically, I already explained why. The second option, no, each account usage is billed separately with no shared discount. That is incorrect because we have single management account and consolidated billing enabled, so we cannot bill separately every account. Only the management account receives discount. That is incorrect. Volume discounts must be manually allocated through Cost Explorer. That is incorrect even more because Cost Explorer is a service to see the costs and monitor them. Yeah, so the correct one is number 1. Let's see if we have any more questions. So question number 7. A development team wants to automatically compile source code, run unit tests, and generate build artifacts each time a new commit is pushed to their GitHub repository. They need a fully managed service that can perform this build process without provisioning or managing service. Which AWS service best meets these requirements? AWS Code Pipeline, CodeBuild, Elastic Beanstalk, and CloudFormation. Code Pipeline certainly can be used here as an orchestration. And what Code Pipeline does, it reacts to a signal from GitHub, then it provisions CodeBuild, and the build process is executed in CodeBuild. So the correct answer here is CodeBuild as a part of Code Pipeline process. Elastic Beanstalk is not correct because Beanstalk is a service to deploy applications. CloudFormation is an infrastructure as code service, and it doesn't compile and build and doesn't run unit tests. It just deploys artifacts. So CodeBuild is the correct option here. Yeah, and we are done with all the options, nothing else here. Let me know if you want more practice exam questions reviews like this one. Give it a like, subscribe. See you next time.